Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice from Nexus Property Management, and today we're doing something a little different. We're here at Mastery Martial Arts in Johnston, Rhode Island, and we're with Chelsea and Anthony. How you guys doing?
Great.
Doing great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday is right.
Awesome. Doing great. Great to be here.
So let's jump right in. Anthony, I met you from my good friend, Emilio DeSpirito.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us about your background with Emilio and how you got started here?
So Emilio and I went to college growing up together, and the funny joke is him and I never went to college, but we were college buddies. And ever since I met him, there was just a unique connection between him and I. We kind of always on the same page. Like, we always wanted more out of life. We always wanted to find our purpose, and we always wanted to kind of figure out, where we're going in life. And through the experience, him and I developed a great relationship and a great bond. And as life gets going, and obviously you have different relationships in your life, and we kind of got disconnected for a few years, and then somehow, some way, we got reconnected, and it's been a great experience since, and that's kind of how we met each other.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Chelsea, how did you get involved here?
At Mastery?
Yeah.
So it'll be 26 years ago in April. My brother and I were big into Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, and my brother really wanted to do martial arts. At the time, there wasn't really anything that I had stuck with, so I wasn't as sure about it. Our first lesson in, he did the whole thing. I did not. I was a little more nervous, but it was something that definitely worked out. It was something that my mom, my dad, and my brother and I ended up doing together for more of as a lifestyle all growing up.
And you didn't go to college of your dreams, right? Because you wanted to stay local and practice and learn the skill?
So that was a big decision. I knew when I was 11 years old that this was something I wanted to do. I wanted to be an instructor because I loved it so much. And I knew what it did for my family, and I wanted to be able to share it. So by the time I got to that decision, I had gotten some really amazing scholarship opportunities from schools in Boston, and all the schools that I applied for. I felt super lucky and grateful for that. I decided to stay local because I knew that my decision to be a martial arts instructor meant I wanted to be there for it and stay involved. Not that would have been impossible otherwise, but for me that was the best choice, and I'm glad that it worked out. And I had the opportunity to actually still go to school for free because of the leadership experience, grades, and athleticism. I think a lot of it had to do with my mastery training as well.
Awesome. And what's the age group that you guys teach here? What's the youngest student?
Our youngest is the ages 3 to 12. That's really our primary market with Mastery. Yeah. What we found is that a child's age development really goes from 0 to 7. That's the time that they're really learning the habits that's going to serve them for the rest of our life. So a lot of parents think, 3 or 4 might be too young, but actually it's the best age. They really are so inexperienced in life, and if you instill them with the right qualities now early, you're only setting them up for success later on.
And what's the oldest, or does it never stop?
I mean, we've had some people earn black belt at 75. I have a family currently training at my location where there's 3 generations of the family all training. The youngest is 3 in the Little Dragons program, and the oldest is over 60 and training for his apprentice black belt right now. And the 2 parents also train. So it's pretty exciting to watch that it's something everybody could do together.
Yeah. And what about the belts? How many belts are there? What's the progression? I know we have them on the wall here, right? Is this every one start to finish?
Up until the degrees.
Yeah. So
without the Little Dragons.
Without the Little Dragons. So our Tiny Tigers and Little Dragons program, that's ages 3 to 6. They have a different rank system just because of their age, and that program is really a fundamental program. They're kind of prerequisite to begin a martial arts training. When a child turns 7, we just found that's a good age to begin their full martial arts training in our martial arts leadership program. From white to black belt, there's 30 belts altogether. Yeah, so there's 30 stages of development going on, and what we found is that every time a child has an experience, a positive one, and they get rewarded and recognized, it boosts their self-esteem. Yeah. So the more times that they can have that over the course of their journey here at Mastery, we're only increasing the likelihood of them developing a higher self-esteem.
But what about this, right? Say I'm 10 years old, and what belt am I at? Usually.
What, you start at white?
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm at the white belt. and I'm practicing and I'm doing the best I can, but I can't pass to the next belt. What happens there? Do the students continue along with their belts, or do they have to stay and pass some type of test or kind of exam to move on?
That's a really great question. So I think one of the things that makes mastery so different from a lot of other activities is that sometimes kids do fail. And that's okay, because one of our principles that we follow is failure is your friend. And failure has become such a negative word in today's society. Like, we don't keep score, we don't keep track, we don't want anyone to lose, we don't want anybody to fail. But then when kids get older, we can see it now, how detrimental that is for their emotional stability and strength, because they don't know how to deal with it. Then they become teenagers and they fail for the first time, or they're left out of something for the first time, or they don't get invited, because in elementary school, sometimes everyone has to get invited or no one gets invited. And when they get those feelings for the first time as a teenager, it's so much harder to deal with. So one of the things that does happen is that sometimes if kids don't reach all the requirements, or they don't show up and just really give it their best, we do hold them back. But we hold them back in a super positive way, where our instructors will individually work with them to figure out what it is that they need to work on, practice, make better, build their self-esteem up, and help them use it as a learning experience, so that later on in life, when they fail or something's hard, or they feel challenged or left out, or they have that problem, they know how to get through it. Right. So that definitely happens. And one of the things that I think is great about it is that we work together, and the parents are super supportive about it. And as long as the parents back them up, and sometimes it's harder for the parents than it is for the kids. I can tell you personally, my mom failed a black belt test once, and I was more upset about it than she was, for sure. But the experience of watching her not give up and continue just absolutely was this defining moment in my life, where she showed me what it meant to be honest about something, work harder, get it done, and succeed. And whether it's a student going through that, a family member going through that, it's something that they can definitely all learn from, and something that I don't think happens enough in regular society right now. So.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. Each of you, what is your biggest weakness?
Ooh.
Whether, professionally, personally, that you're working on and trying to make better.
My biggest internal struggle is I'm my own worst enemy. And I push so hard, and I put myself at such a high standard, and when I don't reach those standards, I really get frustrated with myself, and I'm working really hard to not let others see it. And then reality, I just have to recognize, is that we can't always win, like she was talking about, and we can't always achieve our goals the first time, and there's no need to get upset. There's no need to stomp your feet like a child. And you have to recognize it, you have to appreciate it, you have to realize that, I came close, but I didn't make it far enough, and reset our goals next month and refocus. Obviously with COVID and stuff, it was a hard hit for me personally, because for 20 years of running a martial arts school, I've always been so good at it and so successful, and something outside of my control took my success away. But did it really? Because it only made me a stronger human being, and I'm starting to see that, a year later as well too. So that's my biggest struggle internally.
Chelsea?
So I would say my biggest weakness is probably the fact that I'm a little bit of a spaz. I like to call it over-optimism about time and what can be accomplished in certain periods of time and what's going to happen. Some people might call it ADD, or having problems with focus. But so it's definitely something that I do work on a regular basis. It's something that I know that I've gotten better at and have a long way to go. But I tend to be very quick to have lots of things going on at once, and sometimes it's a little bit too many things, or really quickly move from one thing to the next.
Those are pretty good weaknesses. Those aren't bad. Those are the strengths, I would say.
I do like Oreo cookies, and I do like chocolate chip cookies and ice cream. So if you want to call those weaknesses too, then.
And how about this? I don't know much about this industry. Okay, what about children that have special needs or impairments? Is this a good idea for them?
Absolutely. So it's the best idea for them, because part of what makes mastery so awesome too is the inclusive environment. So there are so few places, like you can pay all the money to send your kids to the best schools, you can get them into the best sports teams, but you just, and as a parent, it's something that you just always think about in the back of your head, you can't control the influence from other people at all times. But here, we have a really unique way of being able to do that. So there's no bullying, because everything is so structured and high energy and fun, and the interactions are made positive by specifically training life skills and leadership and talking about it so often that when you see like a new 3-year-old come into class, no matter what they look like, no matter how they act, no matter what they do, and you see the other 3-year-olds introduce themselves like, hi, my name is Mr. Johnny, and there's a whole different like sense in the environment, no matter, and we've had kids take classes in wheelchairs. We've had kids take classes with severe disabilities, or kids who don't speak or aren't super verbal, or have sensory issues. And we work with everyone because we know that everyone learns differently, and our environment can accommodate and kind of be flexible enough to, some people it takes longer than others to go through the ranking system. And for some people, maybe not, the ranking system is not exactly where they end up, but they'll be rewarded and supported based on their personal achievements and accomplishments, whatever that level is. So this is a great place, absolutely, for that.
So all shapes, all sizes,
Absolutely.
everybody's welcome. Now, how about this? COVID's going on, things are different, and not everybody knows about everybody's business, but there's laws and regulations that are put into place for everybody's business. What's something that both of you would like to say to the public, to state leadership, that maybe they're just quite not getting or understanding about the business?
Yeah. Our mastery locations have been, we feel as though have done the best job of shifting gears from when COVID happened till now. We're actually the first organization to really switch to offline, live in-person to online classes immediately. And it was pretty instant. Within a matter of a day, we had our online classes going to continue that experience. And what we found out is that parents really appreciated it because, quote unquote, it left some normalcy inside these kids. Kids were so used to having that routine, going to school, doing this, going to soccer practice, going to martial arts class, and then within a day, it just got sweat. And kids they can't handle it. I mean, we look across the country, and forget about the pandemic. Kids' emotional well-beings are really being hurt in this past year. The social interaction that kids used to get, and that just cut cold turkey, it's very hard, especially teenagers. We hear it now more than ever. Teenagers are really having a hard time because they're at a teenager level, all they want to do is that social interaction. When we were growing up, that was what was most important in our lives, is to keep that social interaction. So parents really appreciated the fact that our martial arts academy, the message was consistent, the training was consistent, although it wasn't particularly in our location, it was done at home. It was the very fact that how consistently that was. And I think the public really needs to understand that, Mastery has really done a great job of keeping it safe for kids, keeping it fun for kids. We do everything we can possible to ensure safety, number one. Fun, number two, and then obviously the value of the training. Still to this day, throughout the year of the pandemic, we've had kids improve their grades, kids improve their focus, kids get better at home. Every child in martial arts mastery has been making their bed the first time. Parents have been proud of their first time listening skills. Kids have been doing push-ups and sit-ups. I mean, now more than ever, we hear, why you looked into martial arts for your child, and it's the exercise, the lack of exercise, because they do nothing, and kids are changing their habits, developing healthy habits, doing more push-ups and sit-ups. So I think, as a parent, if I was looking to enroll my child into something, obviously we look for one thing, that's safe, number two, that it's educational, and number three, that's fun. I think Mastery hits all of those, especially during the pandemic as well too.
Well, so, and then as far as the specifics of it, some of the time when you asked about, what affected our business as far as this goes, right? So some of the time we were lumped in with other places like big gyms or big organizations, along with like small dance studios and places like that, where what we do is not similar to what they do. We have the ability to really control the environment and keep it safe. We absolutely keep everyone socially distanced. In training, everyone has their mask, everyone gets screened on the way in, everyone's temperature checked, everyone is sanitized, no one shares equipment, everyone stays safe, and our whole training facility is actually sanitized every 30 minutes. So there are very few places that can run that kind of, like, you can't do that at a big gym. It's just not feasible. You can't sanitize every piece of equipment every time somebody touches it, but we can because of the structured way that we run things. So it is different. I know that there's a lot going on, and for state leadership, I don't envy their job trying to navigate through this whole thing, but that part's definitely been hard as a small business that we're doing everything we can to keep everyone safe, but we're so grateful and thankful for all of the Mastery families that have, stayed on board and stayed committed, and the new people that we've had so many amazing new people, which is funny because we only know half their faces, but we've had so many amazing new people get started during this. I cannot wait for them to see what full out Mastery training is like when we can interact even more. So, yes, it's been hard. Not always totally fair, but I'm sure that people are doing what they can and what they feel is best, and I cannot wait to be back to normal.
Yeah, it's great. Well said.
One of my last questions, right? For the parents at home, they're on a budget, right? Okay, I only have X amount of dollars, disposable income. It's martial arts, it's softball, baseball, basketball, cheerleading. How does a parent pick or decide or choose what the right investment in their child?
Definitely. We can both elaborate on this. The hard part is with martial arts is that it's not a 6-week activity. Most of the times you get your child involved in basketball, baseball, whatever, it's a 6-week-long commitment, and then you kind of pick it up the following year, unless your child makes the playoffs and all-stars and all that great stuff. However, with martial arts, parents have to recognize that this is not only an investment in your child's well-being, it's more importantly an investment in your child's future. And most parents see the value of their child learning healthy habits that will serve them for the rest of their life. Growing up doing sports, I think it's a great opportunity, but like our instructor says, only the best kids on the sports team really get the life skills out of the training. Because they're the best. They're always out there. They're always been the leadership role position. They're always getting count on. Whereas our Mastery program, every kid is the best. Every single one. Every single kid. What's that? Yeah, nobody sits the bench here. Every child gets the opportunity to be a leader. Every child gets the opportunity to be their best. And there's definitely no he's better than who or anything like that. So to help parents understand that, regardless of what martial arts that they decide to take, we just see martial arts as a bigger picture because accidentally, sports teach life skills. Mastery, we intentionally teach the life skills behind us. Every single class, so a kid can actually let that sit on their brain for 5-10 years of their life. So later on in life, they might make different choices about, number one, who they decide to hang around with, because you and I both know you are who you follow. Yep. Number two, you make different decisions about the type of activities you decide to participate in, regardless of what that be. And we know as parents is that you're not going to always be near your child's side forever. You can't. Sooner or later, they have to leave your nest egg. And what do you want your child to look like when they leave? How do you want them to act? How do you want them to behave? What kind of character do you want inside of your child? And you can't start, there's no sooner time to start doing that than the minute they're born. And start thinking about what you want your child to look like and act like and behave in society, and you have to start working backwards. And we think with Mastery, our instructors, we do a great job of setting up guidelines for kids and really setting them up on a clear path to success.
I don't think you can follow that up.
I don't think I really need to,
but please, anything else you want to add to that? Parents are like, oh, I don't know if my child will like it. They like to be outside. This is inside. Maybe something like that.
Good point. Okay, so I'll just add a couple of logistical things from parent perspective, right? There's a big one, like for me as a kid growing up, my mom, my dad could get a workout, get some stress relief. My brother and I could learn confidence, make friends, and all have fun, and we could all do it in the same place at the same time. And I don't think there's anything that I can think of where you can be on the same team with your kids, not like Nexus, like coaching with your kids, amazing, going and doing something for fun with your kids, awesome, but like really being involved at the same time, in the same space, on the same team, I don't think there's anything else like that I could think of anyways. Also, everyone's got such crazy hectic schedules. And you know what's weird is in the middle of a pandemic, right? It's you can do the least amount of things, but I don't know about anybody else. I also feel like life is the most hectic. Yeah. Like for whatever reason, it's the most hectic and the biggest juggling act, but you can do the least amount of things. And right now, especially, having something that's streamlined, simple, and easy in one spot, not having to cart kids around back and forth, not having to find a million different things that your kids might be interested in. One of the things that happens all the time is parents come in. We had a student come in last week, crying on his way in the door, absolutely did not want to be there, got in, looked around, and we would never force anybody to do it if they don't want to, but sometimes it's just something that kids don't know they want to do, and some parents know they want it for their kids because they understand the life skills and the values that comes out of it. So sometimes parents are the ones that make the decision and say, listen, you're going. And for those kids, sometimes they sit and watch a class first. Sometimes it takes a couple, but some of those kids end up being our absolute best students and even instructors. Our instructor that runs the Warwick Academy, our chief instructor that runs the Warwick Academy, when she came in, she was miserable. She didn't want to be there. One of the things that she says that helped her the most was that martial arts gave her a reason to be happy and showed her that it wasn't necessarily cool to hate everything. And coming from someone at the time who was like, she calls herself at the time an angsty 12-year-old, because at the time sometimes you get stuck in this crowd and think it's cool to be miserable. Right. She came in not wanting to do it and now helps other kids learn life skills and become leaders because she came to love it and found how great it made her feel. So not every kid, most come in excited about it, but not everybody. And I haven't ever seen anyone not enjoy it after a class or two and not really benefit from it. So logistically, and the nice things, if kids love to play outdoors, they can do martial arts outdoors, they can practice outdoors, but you don't get as much playtime in the wintertime, and a lot of times those kids get more sedentary, more screen time in the wintertime, but not if they have some place to still go and have fun and participate all year round.
Definitely.
Yeah, love that. So we have 8 locations, right?
Yes.
And why don't you tell the folks at home where the locations are?
So we have a Cumberland location, East Greenwich, Warwick, Cranston, Smithfield, and Johnston as well too.
And did you have one in Massachusetts as well?
Oh, North Attleboro as well too. I'm sorry. Yeah, forget about that one. yeah, we're kind of on the outskirts of that one. Yeah, but our North Attleboro.
That's beautiful.
It's great.
So you have the whole southern New England, Rhode Island. Even people maybe come from Connecticut. Do they travel, or is that too far?
We do have a couple of students from Connecticut.
That come out.
Yeah.
So it's like no excuse.
And you know what's really unique about it is that all of our instructors grew up in the program. It's something that's kind of, there's no
I just got hired.
right. It doesn't happen. It's we all started as one tiny little school, training in the back of a parking lot as kids, and because of the leadership skills and the passion that we all had for it, it just kind of grew and spread from there.
And now we have an opportunity to expand mastery, and we have a great instructors training program now where we take kids that are between the ages 11 and 14, and we train them how to become a level 1 instructor, and we teach them how to be a leader and run staff, and have the opportunity to eventually give them a part-time job here, and then if all goes well, they can have a full-time position, and then maybe in the future, if this is something that they decide that is right for them as a career, we can even talk about the opportunity to open up their own school and have a partnership with us.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're trying our best to really position ourselves where not just a karate school, but more importantly, an organization that if a child or a parent really sees the value here and really wants to have the opportunity to expand their training beyond just the kick and the punch and give them a career opportunity, we have that as well too, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing. And if folks at home want to get in touch with you,
how should they do so?
Couple ways, you can check out our website at masterma.com. There's a lot of information there. You can check out our Facebook pages at Mastery Martial Arts at each one of our locations. You can contact us directly at 401-413-9732. You can email us, and all of our email addresses are on the website, and we'd love to see if you're a good candidate for our program.
And you're going to show us some moves shortly.
Sure.
We're going to set you guys up and show you some moves.
Great.
But what if I'm a parent and I said, I don't know the website, Facebook, can they come in, when COVID is over maybe, and watch a class, like a sample, like just sit in the sidelines and observe?
Definitely.
Is that an option?
Yeah. So what we do is with all of our new members, we have the opportunity to discover a 5-minute discovery call. It's called one of our specialists. We can bring you through a clear on detailed analysis of your child and see if you're a good fit. And if you feel our program's right for you, we can set you over to private VIP one-on-one class. One of our certified instructors, we can take you on a tour of the academy. We can teach your son or your daughter all the basic stance and blocks they need to know to begin their journey, and make sure that it's right for them and it's right for you and your family as well too.
Awesome. So again, Chelsea, Anthony, thank you so much. We're going to switch now. And what are you guys going to show us?
Kickboxing.
Some kickboxing.
Let's do some kickboxing.
All right, let's do it.
Awesome.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can.
All right. One more time. Okay. Up, weave. One more time. One more. Cover. I just want to make sure we do it. So 25 years ago, my younger brother, Michael Pizzillo, went to a birthday party. That Monday, my instructor, Mr. Horton, called my mom and asked if my brother would be interested in coming to a free class. And my mom said yes, and he was welcome to bring a friend, and so he brought along me. During the time growing up, my self-control and awareness levels was pretty low. In and out of detention most days, staying after school because I've gotten in trouble through the teachers, and my mom told me I'm going to sign up for martial arts class, and I was completely against it. I was 11 years old. It just didn't feel right for me. So I went to the initial introductory lesson, and I sat down and I watched my brother start doing all of his moves, and Mr. Horton kept asking me, you want to try? And I'm like, no, I'm really not interested. And then I watched the coolest thing happen. My brother broke a board, and I was just like, I want to do that. And ever since that moment, Mr. Horton set me up on a goal as every single day I had to make my bed and I had to memorize our student oath. And when I did that, I earned this right here. 25 years ago, I earned this white belt. And this white belt is part of the coolest thing that I've ever learned. Besides the 4 black belts that I've earned over the course of my journey in mastery, this was it. This began my life in martial arts. I had so much fun. And I remember when I was a green belt, and I was training in class, and it just felt right. And I said, this is something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So this white belt not only gave me the opportunity to enjoy martial arts, it gave me a rewarding career that I have looked forward to. And here's the coolest part. Can I show you guys? I was 11, remember, when I earned this. Wait, hold on. It still fits. That's the coolest part. Like, are you kidding me? I was 11 years old when I earned this, and this thing still fits. So what I learned from my instructor, it's really not the belt that's wrapped around your waist. It's really the one that's wrapped around your heart. And, becoming a black belt isn't something that's around your waist. It's a lifestyle. So this is really meaningful to me, and I hope one day that you can earn yours and share your story with me as well, too.
So I brought with me a family photo from training, and I chose to share this because My favorite part of my mastery experience has been the fact that I was able to train with my dad, my brother, and my mom, all growing up through the program. 26 years ago, we started, and it was something that we all came to love together. It became a lifestyle. We supported each other and kept each other going. We practiced at home. I'm not sure how the neighbors felt about it, but it was always a lot of fun. And it was just something so unique to be on the same team with my parents and my brother, and it really created a whole separate dynamic in our relationship. I think no matter what, parents are always proud of your kids. Kids always look up to your parents. You have a great relationship, but when kids get to be proud of their parents and really see their accomplishments and watch them get out there and learn and try new things and work together and grow and come home and set goals. I watched my mom go through a huge experience to earn her black belt after never having been involved in sports or other physical things like that, even though she's a freakishly strong, tiny person. And I watched my dad kind of struggle through not being flexible and come home and set a goal every single night and end up in a full split. I mean, these kinds of things kind of defined me growing up and showed me that anything is possible, that we don't give up, and that working together is the best way to accomplish goals. So for me, my favorite thing is the fact that my whole family was able to do this together all growing up, and we all supported each other through it.